Tim Moody, President and CEO of Pan Global Resources. Pan Global has projects in Spain. We're primarily focused on copper. We have an advanced copper discovery, plus a very strong suite of other targets where we expect to make additional discoveries. So lots of news flow. We've put out some great news this week.
You did. Now, let's talk about why we're here. We're at Beaver Creek. Mm-hmm. You're having meetings with investors. That's the name of the game. How's it being received?
Yeah, so I came here really at the request of a couple of key investors. So really that's what prompted me to come to Beaver Creek this time. So I've had quite a busy couple of days, and it's been primarily with investors in the company. A couple of the funds as well that are around who have been following the company. And look, they like the story. We've got strong support from some of our biggest investors, which they understand this is a tough market, but they say stick to what we're doing. You're doing all the right things. We like the project. So.
Well, I think it's an interesting time at the moment because there's not that many copper stories, despite what the kind of forward trend tells us is we're going to need a lot more of it. So when you're places like this, I mean, what is the story that you're projecting out? You're in Spain, obviously. We put out some good results this week. I mean, talk us through, what they were and what they tell you.
Yeah. So firstly, I try to sort of differentiate what Pan Global is. Our main discovery is a volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit, what they call VMS deposit. These things can be wonderfully rich deposits. They're quite compact. So we've got one of those in the premier VMS district in the world, and looks like we're going to make more of these discoveries. And the other thing is that being in Spain, in southern Spain in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, this is a mining-friendly area. We have all the infrastructure. We're almost like a brownfields project, given that we're right next door to the third or fourth largest copper producer. This is an area with lots of mining activity and thousands of years of mining history, as you know. You've seen
I did. I still smile because when we went down there to see the project, we saw you, and we were standing in front of that town hall, and I still remember that banner to this day, which is like so. I don't ever ask you about social license because that banner is
already there. So
we welcome mining.
Yeah, so this is a pro-mining area with lots of infrastructure. So in terms of risk profile, I don't think it gets much better than where we're located. And add to that, we've got copper from near surface, an open pit target, plus all this, bundles of upside, and a new project which is pretty exciting as well. I think we present a pretty compelling case. And I think being in Europe's a big advantage, and they're the fastest adopters of electric vehicles and so on, and alternative energy. Spain's a centre for solar energy. I think it's one of only two countries in Europe that now have more renewable energy sources than hydrocarbons.
It's just over 50%.
Yeah. So I think that really sets us apart from many of these other projects. And we add to that, this is something that once we announce a resource and apply for the mining permit, the pathway is pretty quick, very quick actually, relative to just about anywhere else in the world. You've seen it.
I've seen it like on the drive from Seville through to site. It was interesting. Obviously, the kind of group of Mexico, I believe, and the other big player there is First Quantum as well. And there's mountains there. This stuff. And I guess are very willing and able and skilled. People, who like mining. Like I say, we saw that ourselves. I want to sort of come back a little bit to a little bit about you and remind people. We had this discussion before, maybe about 18 months ago. So, right, where you come from and your experience of, working in big companies, what it tells you about how you piece together a story like you are down there in the Iberian Belt.
Yeah. Should I cover the results first, or we will go straight to that? But
give me the backdrop, because it says what you're working to.
Okay, so quick. So I've been in the mining industry one way or another for probably 40 years now. Started when I was a teenager, but I was with Rio Tinto for 24 years, 18 years in exploration. I was director of exploration for a good period of time. Last 6 years with the company, I was at VP and Director of Business Development in London. But during my exploration time, I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to have made a few discoveries. And also part of my history was running Rio Tinto's exploration in Spain and Portugal just after the Las Cruces deposit was discovered. My team found another couple of massive sulfide deposits in the Iberian Pyrite Belt. Yeah, this was one of, if not the biggest exploration project anywhere in the world at the time for Rio Tinto. It was just after Las Cruces, the Las Cruces deposit had been discovered. So when I left Rio Tinto, joined Pan Global, we managed to secure a good piece of property, which has now become our Escacena project. And, the first target we tested, the first drill holes into that target were discovery holes. So, and now we're looking at, we've got, looks like a second discovery, and we're on the pathway to make additional.
But give me the why, right? So in terms of the why you're going about it like you are, and the what you think success will look like to be able to bring in a major, because that's the end game here, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to take it all as far as we're going to progress it towards it being a mine.
Absolutely.
And if we end up in that place, we have the skill set to be able to do that. I've got 3 mining engineers on my team in
Spain.
Spain.
I met them as well.
So,
yes.
so that's a pretty unique situation to start with for an exploration company. So we have the people to be able to take this right through. But I think that's part of the value, the asset, the thing that could be attractive if we become a takeover target as well, that we have a team of experienced people that could plug and play.
I guess that's what I'm kind of focused on, because you kind of need that optionality. So especially in markets like this, where there's massive uncertainty over the last 4 years about, what people are going to reward or not.
Yeah.
And it seems to be mostly not rewarding people for doing good work. So in terms of optionality, of building it in a way which could be attractive if that was a route you chose to go down. I get that you could do it yourself, but that these are big balance sheet type projects usually.
Yeah, I think that our pathway, which is the same under both scenarios, a takeover situation or a mining situation. So someone described Pan Global recently as a company that does good bottom-up work, and really that's we come from a traditional exploration background. It is grassroots exploration that we're doing. We're not going back to old projects, rehashing them, redoing these. We're starting from scratch. These are grassroots exploration targets,
surface
and
sampling.
we're making surface sampling. The traditional work, it's still works.
Hard work.
And we've had success. You've seen that yourself. So what we're trying to do is, firstly, with the discovery we've got, continue to expand that, and so that when we do come out with a resource, which shouldn't be too far away, within 12 months or so, that is, as big as we think it might be. Yes, there might still be room to grow, but we think it's at this stage has quite a way to grow from where it is. So why not try and delineate it better before we come out with a resource? So that's been our approach there. Secondly, try to advance and make additional discoveries, because in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, all of the big mines are not just single ore bodies. They're made up of clusters of deposits,
right.
All of them.
Right.
So that's what gives you the volume. That's what makes it attractive to the bigger companies. So whilst we think we've got a standalone mining project potentially in our hands with La Romana, we think that if we find others, that just makes it something more competitive with the other big producers in the area, what they've gotten. And if we're successful at doing that, that just makes us more attractive as a takeover target as well. So that's why I say that's the right path to do. If we're successful in making other discoveries, growing and making La Romana bigger and bigger, then that's what we want to do anyway. But that's what's going to make the target on our back even stronger. Add to that, given our location, right next door to Grupo Mexico, waiting for their final permit to commence, so they can commence construction on a new mine in an old open pit mining area, but they're going to start with an underground mine right next door to us. So within 6 kilometres of our La Romana discovery, the next nearest mine is First Quantum. That's for sale at the moment. So the outcome of that sale we expect is not far away either. So those are two activities, let's say, that could be quite interesting in terms of how Panglobal's perceived. And once Group of Mexico start their construction and so on, I think then what we've got in their backyard within conveyor belt distance of their new plant really creates a pretty interesting scenario that not every company would have. And then add to that, whoever buys Las Cruces, you'd have to think that having more other sources of copper would make it would also be attractive. So.
Let's because it moves us nicely onto I think press release came out yesterday. I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I know the time zone at times to work out where we are. Some nice high grade numbers in there. Mm-hmm. Were they in a kind of format that you expected to see? I mean, talk us about those ore body formations and those kind of shoots that you're saying.
Yeah, so these were 3 drill holes from the La Romana discovery.
Yep.
Those 3 holes were part of a 25-hole extensional drilling program, something where we were trying to target the western extension near surface, extend the strike length and find more open pit potential copper mineralisation. So these were 3 holes near the back end of this 25-hole program, which overall has been really successful. We've added about 300 metres of strike length, and it's still open. And that's about 20% of the overall deposit in this just 25-hole program. So that's a pretty good outcome. And what we've shown with those 3 holes we put out yesterday is that it's still open, and we're still hitting high-grade mineralisation near surface. By that high grade, I mean greater than 1%. We had let's say 18 metres of 1.24% copper equivalent. Most of it was copper. That was drilling actually sort of trying to extend the high-grade shoot or trend that we'd identified with a couple of other holes. And this was our best drill hole of all. It drilled into a 100-metre gap that we hadn't tested before, and bang, we hit it. Now we can see potential for that to extend closer to surface and maybe even hit a nice enrichment zone. So that was a great result. So that was one hole. Another hole showed the mineralisation open down dip to the north. So we've got dip potential. And then the other hole, another hole which is 9 metres of 1.3% copper equivalent thereabouts. And that is the northwesternmost intersection. That's a nice interval showing it's still wide open towards the northwest. So I think at this stage we just want to follow that high-grade trend. But now we've got a pretty good idea which direction it's following, and we've got a gravity anomaly that's indicating we could have another sort of 300 or 400 metres of strike length. So this is why I say let's drill that before we rush the resource.
Have all holes that have been drilled been reported now?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you know where you're at, and you're going to be presumably analysing that data and making some decisions about where to go next. Most prospective, presumably. Yeah.
So we've actually been doing a really deep analysis of all the results and so on. And I hope to sort of announce provide a bit more of an update on this in the coming few weeks. But we can see not only the potential to grow the deposit off to the northwest, and we've got 2 or 3 more holes left of the 25-hole program to complete. But it's already obvious that we're going to need to add more holes to delineate that the western extension. But this deep dive we've been doing has identified a couple of other areas where they're both down dip. One is sort of in the centre of the deposit. It looks like it's wide open down there. We can see an area of higher tin. Tin usually is the core of the system, and then goes out into copper and then perhaps lead zinc. So we can see that we haven't actually tested some of the copper part of that zonation in one part of the deposit. So that's pretty exciting for us. Mm-hmm. And then we've got another area off in the northeast where we were getting some of the highest grade intersections, and it looks to be open in that direction as well. So there's 3, if you like, future areas of expansion of the deposit that can really make add quite a bit.
And what do you feel about in terms of what's getting the most interest in terms of the we've got tin in there, we've got copper, it's all going on. Yeah, you're finding lots of contained metal per ton. It's nice, but there'll be some things that the market will react to more than others. I mean, have you got any sort of feedback on that?
Copper's, the general feedback is copper's great.
Right.
It's the right commodity at the right time. We can, I think the fundamentals are still there. That's what we're primarily after.
Yeah.
But we have tin, which is the only other major deposit in the Iberian Pyrite Belt.
Yeah.
Tin is Neves Corvo, which was one stage one of the biggest tin producers in the world. It was Europe's biggest tin producer.
Yeah.
So we've got meaningful amounts of tin, perhaps 15 to 20% of the in situ value. And the outlook for tin looks really great, really good at the moment. Add to that the metallurgy results that we put out earlier this year, showing just excellent recoveries and concentrate grades. So I think the tin is a good commodity to have. We've got a bit of silver as well, but that's just a sort of a bonus for the copper concentrate. So.
Sounds all good. Like, I know we kind of caught you wandering the streets effectively. It's just coming to sort of see what your mood was, after talking to investors and shareholders, etc. Sounds good. And we'll put those links to that trip in Spain. If you haven't watched it, you should watch that, because you get to meet we met some of your team. There's pretty bright individuals in there. We got to kind of look at various bits of the property as well, including the core shed, which is always nice. To actually see that's what it's about. So look, appreciate the update, but let you go back and get out there and pound the streets, pound the desk, whatever mood you're in, and we'll see you. Sounds like in the next couple of weeks or so. If once you've kind of ready to announce what you're going to do with all of that data.
Yeah, we've got a number of sort of news items to come over the next few weeks. So we've had a pretty good news flow over the last little while. So we've got more to come.
Keep getting to that copper news. That's what we want. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.